Maybe Mom was right. It is the damn phone. What did you read that made you close AO3 for the day? Let's start with the more innocent stuff and work our way up to the rest. Although I couldn't include the worst of the thread, so rest assured nothing should scar you for life here. I hope. A fic that ended every other bit of dialogue with a question mark? So every character sounded very sarcastic or very confused, regardless of the actual personalities? A character saying, "Yo, yo, yo, what up?" with the same exact punctuation and everything. An otherwise very well-written fic. And I mean, I had no issues hearing the characters' voices when reading the dialogue. It was very in character. And then they referred to the main character's eyes as orbs, and I needed to take 5. Crack treated seriously, suddenly not being treated seriously anymore. Why let me toe the edge of disbelief just to jump kick me right off it? You've got to commit to the bit, guys, when it comes to crack treated seriously. They said kneading the cake dough. You know, it's mistakes like these where you realize, oh yeah, not everyone has made a cake in their life. But if you want your story to be taken seriously and it takes like 2 seconds to look something up, you could do it. You don't have to, but you could. When the character has a panic attack and someone says, "Name 5 things you can see." So cringe. I legit close any fic that does this. I just recently saw one that was set in the 1800s. Could not believe my eyes. I definitely see a lot of posts about people pointing out characters using these types of phrases in very anachronistic situations. A character was having an anxiety attack, and the other character kissed him out of it. Don't know if that's how it works. That sounds very overstimulating. Something I had been reading for years finally ended, with a dead main character and a cliffhanger where the author specifically said they were not continuing it. That was the end, and it will stay the end. I was distraught. The saddest ending I've ever read made me go and touch grass. I was dumb and read a fic that was tagged very clearly as unhappy sad ending. I didn't look at the tags too closely since it was a coffee shop AU and the premise sounded fluffy. It broke my heart. I'm still recovering. It's all my fault. Genuinely saw the use of the phrase, "my little kitten," in a super serious fic. Had to close it immediately. You know that scene in Shrek, like Shrek 3, where Prince Charming says to Rapunzel, "Not now, Kitten Whiskers." It's giving that. The pet name Pretty on its own, like, "Hello, Pretty," or "Come here, Pretty." I have zero issue with the characters describing each other as pretty, but can't bear it as a nickname because it sounds like it's either A, missing a noun, or B, being said by a pirate. Many a hot, tense dynamic ruined by unexpected pirate speak. I was reading a smut fic, and in the middle, one character called the other his sexy little minx. I laughed out of shock. When the Soviets took over Russia, all omegas and betas were made equals to alphas. When I tell you I almost broke something laughing so hard, I couldn't finish the fic. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't think. I had to hold myself, not the phone. The whole day I was a mess of giggles. Never did I ever think I would read about Omegaverse communism. I missed an mpreg tag. The saxophone's getting louder as I read the main character having morning sickness. Warhammer 40k mpreg. It wasn't even badly written or anything, but I was embarrassed by how much I loved it. Scientifically correct crab anatomy being written, and then realizing who the hell put this much time into writing this kind of fic about a giant crab from a Disney movie. I'd be more invested after that, but different strokes for different folks, etc. True, but it just reminded me, whoa, I need to go to bed. An untagged first-person POV. I got so pissed off I just started playing my Switch instead. Gross. Is first-person POV really that bad? Some people hate it so much, but I don't know, it just surprises me. A fic set in a diner where every character that entered was described as having a lithe body. This ranged from the 80-year-old owner to the 9-year-old grandchild. The rest of what I read was great. The grammar was beautiful, no walls of text. But for some reason, everyone in that little town just happens to have a lithe body. The Twink Rooms. A smut fic that used the words loins 3 times. I don't know what it is about this particular fandom, but I'd say at least 40% of the smut for it contains that word, and I just can't take the work seriously after that. One fic where no character ever finished their sentences. The first few chapters had some of it, but not too much, just enough to show that the characters were struggling to express feelings and thoughts. At some point, though, no sentence got finished. Think something like this. But the plan, I understand. So you want us to... But that is completely... I'm not sure we can. Do you think they... I should be the one to, unless of course you... Every dialogue was like this. Seeing a human-written fic inspired by an AI one. What's worse is that it was definitely written like a human, and yet nowhere near as popular as the AI-written one. Does not bode well for the future of publishing. Surprise partner sharing. I was invested in the romance and immediately got upset. The character putting themselves in a hole so deep, there was literally no way to get out of it. I was already the only way out of this is to literally change your name and become an entirely different person. And then they just kept digging the hole. Honestly, it almost put me off the work entirely, but I just skipped the chapter to give it a chance, and I'm back to actually enjoying it. I deadass thought you meant a literal hole for most of your comment. It had been a fic about a character getting addicted to drugs and the semi-supernatural aftermath. While going through the character's house to investigate his disappearance, the guy's father finds heroin, proclaims it to be the worst drug, and is in denial that his son would ever use it. Another character corrects him by saying the worst drug nowadays is actually fentanyl. The sudden tone change made me choke on my spit and finally convinced me to head to bed. I saw one where the description was simply, character gets covered in bees, and I was just so baffled I clicked on it without thinking. In hindsight, I don't know what I expected, but yeah, they sure covered that boy in bees. And I decided that was enough AO3 for one day. A scene where the original main character was making out with their CRT TV. It was meant to sound hot, sexy, emotional even, but I had a reality check and asked myself what I was legitimately doing with my life. I was reading a smut fic, and during a dream, one of the characters said, "Open up your cherry pie, sweet cheeks." The way I noped out of there so fast. I decided to see if I was willing to overlook one of the kinks they'd tagged because the plot sounded good. The plot was good. The kink was not. I suffered through it anyway and then acted Pikachu surprised that I had no fun at all. I thought water sports was like jet skiing and scuba diving. Water sports at Guantanamo Bay sounds like a great time if you don't know what either of those things are. Someone wrote a Secret Santa fic for me that had very misogynistic undertones and involved one of the characters having a miscarriage. Untagged. Happy holidays. Undisclosed tags. Please, if there is something graphic or taboo, just throw it in the tags. I got through a 60,000 word fic, a light read, before getting jump scared with vor. And that's definitely not the worst that's been undisclosed. When I want scary and intense, I will look for the scary and intense. Until then, let me live in comfort and fluff. I tag and will write a warning note at the beginning of potentially triggering chapters. I don't care about spoilers if it means that I don't have to make a reader uncomfortable. That's a good question, writers. How do you weigh avoiding spoilers versus giving fair warnings? The fic I read that made me close AO3 for the day? They didn't get to having freak nasty sex fast enough. A fic where suddenly one of the characters compared their partner's grip to Harambe during a smut scene. Mind you, this fic came out last year around the time I read it, 2025. I had to go outside after that one. I couldn't finish it after that. The word deathgasm really sent me straight to bed. Busted a nut so hard it killed them. Actually, it was an orgasm induced by getting killed. Graphic, untagged monster fucking. I clicked the nope button and called it a night. Man, I love a good monster fucking in certain ships, but it's hard to come by. I'd be mad that it wasn't tagged because I'm trying so hard to find it. Goes to show that for every fanfic problem you have, someone has the opposite problem. I missed the wound fucking tag. One of the characters has only one eye. My condolences, but I am cackling at your phrasing. I can hear you staring off into the distance. I was reading some pretty good smut written in 2011, so very early in this fandom's development. It wasn't anything groundbreaking, but it was still hot. I was desperate and felt like I had read every smut fic with this pairing. Out of nowhere, they pull out the sentence, "piping hot jism." I was like, what? I had a good laugh, closed the fic, and went to bed. I once read an Omegaverse Korasami fic where it said the glorious line. I can't even say this. Oh, come boiling in her balls. That was years ago when I was in high school. I wonder if I'll ever be able to find that story again. Was it completed? How long was it approximately? Was it a one-shot? Do you remember anything from the description or any other tags? Please, let me know. I mean, it begs the question, in the Avatar universe, if you can firebend and waterbend, theoretically, could that sentence be literal? Yeah, that's enough internet for tonight. Big thank you to my Patreon members, my Little Ruse, Nebulatic Vexen, Donka42, John Huang, Laser Scorpio, Mintara, Somnophobic Danny, Savage Otters, Valzy, Kestrel, Dragonborn Canid, Angie Ender, and Sky Cow. Thank you so much for your extra support on Patreon. It means the world to me. Hope you guys are enjoying the extra little videos I put on there sometimes. And most of all, just thank you for supporting the channel and helping me keep making videos. And the same goes to my YouTube channel members, my mini ruse, Foxstar Killer, Grimjaw the Black, Those Midnight Daydreams, Snout, and Some High Size. Thank you so much for your extra support. I'm so glad to have you be a part of my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your kindness, and I hope you guys are doing awesome. You deserve the best. And thank you to everyone else for watching. I burst out laughing multiple times while making this video, and some of the things that made me laugh I felt were too extreme to include. So, as always, the original Reddit thread is linked in the description if you want to go check it out. And I'll see you in the next video.